Hello all, welcome to Paritranaya. In this video, we shall discuss the history of Supreme Court and High Court. So when did the Supreme Court came into being and when did the first High Court come in India? So the topic of courts again is very important topic from UPSC Civil Service Examination point of view. So first we shall look into the history of Supreme Court and High Court. So High Court came into being in 1862. High Court came into existence in 1862 and High Courts were established at Calcutta, Bombay and Madras. Supreme Court came into existence on 28 January 1950. So before 1950, we did not have Supreme Court. Then what was the central level agency which used to perform a job similar to that of Supreme Court? We had Federal Court of India. Federal Court of India. So when was Federal Court established? It was established through Government of India Act 1935. Government of India Act 1935, it established Federal Court of India. Next, that Federal Court was succeeded by Supreme Court. Supreme Court in 1950. Another important feature, single system of courts we have adopted from Government of India Act 1935. So what is a single system of courts? So we know that we have central and state governments, and in order to make laws, we have parliament at the central level, parliament at the center, and legislature at the state level. So parliament will also make laws on the central list subject. The legislature will make the laws on the state list subjects. For example, let us assume parliament makes a law on currency, because currency is the union subject. Now legislature, let us assume Karnataka makes a law on state subject. Let us assume health, some laws related to health, because health is a state subject. Now let me call it as law 1, which has been made by parliament, and let me call it as law 2, which is made by Karnataka legislature or Karnataka government. Now, what do you mean by single system of courts? It means Supreme Court and High Court. So what the Supreme Court can do, whether it can enforce only the central level law or it can also enforce state level law. Supreme Court can enforce both central level laws as well as state level laws. For example, it can enforce both law 1 as well as law 2. Law 1 which has been made by the center and law 2 which has been made by the state. Similarly, High Court can enforce both law 1 which has been made by the state and law 2 which has been law 1 which has been made by the center and law 2 which has been made by the state. So this is called as single system of courts, wherein both Supreme Court and High Court can enforce both central laws as well as state laws. So what is enforcement? Enforcement is checking whether the law is being implemented properly or not. Okay, we shall discuss in detail about the enforcement later. But here we understood that the concept of single system of courts we have adopted from Government of India Act 1935. Next, very important point, Supreme Court jurisdiction wider than that of Federal Court of India. So in this context, you understand that Supreme Court was more powerful than Federal Court of India which existed before it. So what do we understand by powerful? Now look at the next line. It replaced British Privy Council as the highest court of appeal. Highest court of appeal. Now, before the existence of Supreme Court, before the coming of Supreme Court, so now if we had any problem, let us assume first we'll go to district court. If we are not satisfied, we'll appeal to High Court. If we are not satisfied with the High Court, we will go to Federal Court of India. Okay. If we were not satisfied with the Federal Court of India, I could appeal to what? British Privy Council. British Privy Council. This was before the coming of Supreme Court. But after the Supreme Court came into existence, now if we are not satisfied with the decision of the district court, I will go to High Court. If I am not satisfied with the decision of High Court, I will go to Supreme Court. But if I am not satisfied with the decision of Supreme Court, I do not have a choice to go anywhere outside. So whatever the decision Supreme Court gives, that decision or that judgment will be final. Okay. Hence, Supreme Court's jurisdiction is wider than that of Federal Court of India, because it has replaced British Privy Council as the highest court of appeal. So in this video, we discussed about the history of Supreme Court and High Court. Similarly, in the subsequent videos, we will be learning these concepts of Supreme Court and High Court through comparison. It will help us to understand the concept properly, and it will help us to retain the things for a very long period of time. So for the subsequent videos and all the updates, subscribe to our channel and hit on the bell icon. Thank you.